So today we're going to talk about SMART goal setting. Because it's one thing to decide that we're going to do something, it's one thing to create a resolution, it's one thing to make a goal, but if we're going to have a goal that is likely to be successful, that goal needs to be SMART. And when I say SMART, I don't necessarily mean the opposite of not smart, but it's an acronym. And SMART stands for, we'll talk about it. The S is specific. We want to make sure that as you're creating goals, that your goal is going to be something that is specific, because if it's not specific, then you're not going to know how to reach it. So let's just go super vague. For example, let's say your goal is, I want to feel better. Well, that's cool, but what does that actually look like? You got to know what it looks like, or you're not going to know what to do to get there. So what does it mean to feel better for you? And maybe that means I need to improve the health of my digestive system or something like that, where I'm not having a stomach ache every day, but maybe once or twice a week. That's starting to get a little bit better in the specific category. Or instead of I want to feel better, that's starting to get a little bit into X clothing. That's more specific. I'm not saying that that's a perfect goal, but if you get more specific, then you just have a lot higher likelihood to be successful. Number 2 is measurable. You need something that you're going to be able to measure. So again, instead of I want to feel better, instead you need to be able to measure this. Give it a number. I want to lose 35 pounds. Make that the goal, because it's something you can measure. You can take a look in a week and say, hey, did I get a pound or two closer? Have I lost 2 pounds, or have I lost 10 pounds? You can measure it down the road and see if you're moving in that direction. But if you don't create a goal that you can measure, then you're never going to know if you're getting closer to it. So create a goal that is measurable. Number 3, action-oriented. It's one thing to say that you want to lose weight, but part of your goal is going to have to be, what are the actions that you're going to take to be able to get there? So write down those actions. And that could be, I want to lose 35 pounds, and so the way I'm going to accomplish that is I'm going to exercise 6 days out of the week, and I'm going to, 30 minutes a day, 6 days out of the week, and I'm going to eat 100 grams of carbs or less each day to be able to accomplish that. So then you can look, am I following my action items? And if you're following the action items, am I measuring how close I'm getting to that goal? That's how you start putting these things together in a way that's going to allow you to be more successful. The next step, is my goal realistic? And I say this because, having 4 kids, I have these conversations a lot with them. They may pick up a tennis ball and think that tomorrow they're going to be in Wimbledon, or they may pick up a basketball and the next day they start feeling like they're going to write out their NBA contract. And as a parent, I have to balance the making sure I don't dash my kids' dreams, because there are steps that they can follow to be able to achieve that goal. But just because you've decided you want it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get it. You've got to take steps, and realistic steps. And so that's something that we teach them, is what is realistic, and we help them to be able to understand that. For you, is your goal realistic? Have you decided that you're gonna lose 100 pounds in a month, or 2, or even 3 months? Because that's not realistic. You have to make sure that the goal is something that you can actually attain. Otherwise, you're just going to get frustrated because you didn't get there, and then that'll just make things even harder, more difficult, and worse for you, and we don't want that. So make sure that your goal is realistic. Number 5, is it time oriented? Give yourself a period of time. If your goal is to lose that 35 pounds that we mentioned before, give yourself a period of time to be able to achieve it. Now, we do realize that healthy weight loss is a pound or 2 a week. So we don't want to say I'm going to lose 35 pounds in a month, because you're setting yourself up for struggle. But maybe I'm going to lose 35 pounds over the next 5 or 6 months. You may think that sounds like a long time, but gosh, what would life be like if in 6 months you'd lost 35 pounds? It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there, as long as you're moving that direction. And if you're moving in that direction, you're much more likely to be successful. So those are your SMART goals: specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, time-oriented. Set your goals up in that way, write it down, and you'll be on your way to a healthy new year. We have a manual, a guide, a 2020 Healthy You guide where you can have all this information that we're talking about, where you can fill this out, you put your data in the guide, it will guide you through your year. That is something that is available for you. I want you to be able to have that. So there's a link below for you to be able to get your 2020 Healthy New You guide. Go ahead, check that out. We'll see you at the next video.